Hi, in this video I'll help you get to know your car a little better. At the end of this video I've put together a straightforward infographic that summarizes all the key points. Like, subscribe and comment below. It really helps.
All right, welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're grabbing our tools and diving into a diagnostic mystery. We're going to crack the case of a really common but sometimes tricky trouble code you might find on your Dodge P0581. Oh man, we've all been there, right? You're just driving along, everything feels fine, and then, boom, that little light pops up on the dash. It's the universal signal that, yep, you're about to become a detective for your own car. So you plug in your code reader and this is what it spits out, P0581. Now a code like this is actually great news because it's specific. It doesn't just say, hey, something's wrong, it points us directly to a particular system, which saves a ton of guesswork right off the bat. So what in the world does speed control switch 1 circuit high actually mean? Well, think of it like this. Your car's main computer is always listening for a signal from your cruise control buttons. A high circuit means it's getting a signal that's stuck on, like someone's holding the button down, even when nobody is. Our mission is to find out why it's getting that phantom signal.
Okay, let's get into it. To solve any mystery, you've got to line up the usual suspects, right? In our case, we're looking at a few potential electrical glitches and some parts that might have failed inside that cruise control system.
So check this out. This is basically our roadmap for the investigation. The possible culprits really fall into two big categories. You've either got a problem with the wiring itself, or one of the actual components has gone bad. As you can see, we've got 5 main suspects to look into, from a simple shorted wire all the way up to the car's main computer. First things first, we always start with the wiring. Seriously, there's no point in throwing expensive parts at a problem if it's just a loose or a chewed-up wire. So let's get in there and trace the pathways and see what we can find. Our prime suspect, especially for any circuit-high code, is a short circuit. All that means is the signal wire is touching a power source it's not supposed to, which is what causes that crazy high voltage reading the computer is seeing. So what you're going to want to do is carefully follow the wires coming from the cruise control switches. Look for anything that just doesn't look right. Insulation that's frayed, wires that are pinched between 2 parts, or a connector that looks all crusty and damaged. A lot of the time, the fix is as simple as repairing that one little spot. Now, what if it's not an extra connection causing the problem? Well, it could be the exact opposite, a missing one, an open circuit or high resistance. It's like there's a roadblock in the electrical highway and the signal just can't get through properly.
A bad ground is a classic villain in the world of automotive electronics. If the circuit can't complete its path back to the battery, it can cause all sorts of bizarre voltage readings. So you always want to check that those ground connections are clean, tight, and totally free of rust and corrosion.
All right, so let's say you've inspected every inch of the wiring and it all looks perfect. Now our focus has to shift. The problem isn't the pathway, it's one of the components themselves. It's time to start testing the actual hardware. Now, to do this right and to save yourself a ton of time and money, it is absolutely crucial to follow a logical order. We're going to start with the most likely part to fail and the easiest one to check, and then work our way down the list to the least likely and most complicated culprit. Okay, our first component on the list is the one you actually use every day, the cruise control switch that's sitting right there on your steering wheel. I know it seems almost too simple, but think about it. How many thousands of times have those little buttons been pressed over the life of the car? The tiny little contacts inside can just wear out, creating a bad connection or even an internal short. A quick test with a multimeter will tell you right away if the switch itself is the problem. Next up, we're going to dig a little deeper, behind the steering wheel and the airbag. We're looking for a part that a lot of people have never even heard of, the clock spring.
I mean, think about it for a second. Your steering wheel has to spin around, but you've got all these electronics in it, like the horn, the airbag, and the cruise control. The clock spring is this really clever device, kind of like a coiled-up ribbon cable, that lets all those connections stay intact while you turn the wheel. But because it's always moving, it can definitely wear out and break over time.
And that leads us to our final and, most intimidating suspect, the Powertrain Control Module, or PCM. This is the big one. It's the central computer, the brain of your entire vehicle.
Okay, now this part is really important. While a bad PCM can cause this code, it is super rare. This has to be your absolute last resort. You only even think about blaming the PCM once you have proven without a shadow of a doubt that every other wire, switch, and component in that circuit is working perfectly. So, by systematically going through the suspects, checking the wiring first, then testing each component in a logical order, you can go from having a confusing check engine light to finding a definite solution. You can officially close the case on code P0581.
And this is really why it all matters. This isn't just about turning off an annoying light on your dashboard, it's about getting a feature back that you actually use, and more importantly, making sure all of your vehicle systems are talking to each other correctly so it can run at its best.
So, there you have it, the mystery of code P0581. Well, it's not so mysterious anymore when you know who the suspects are and how to conduct the investigation. You've now got the knowledge to tackle this challenge, solve the case, and get your cruise control working again.